car power ship to dock at Tema on Friday.
Ghana takes steps to secure the future of her forests and deal with climate change.
And Pope Francis starts Africa tour.
Good evening. Welcome to the studios of GBC24 and GTV. I'm Akushika Akwe.
And I'm Conrad Kakraba, and Robert Frimpong-Manso is doing the sign language translation.
The power ship from Turkey, which is expected to augment Ghana's electricity supply situation, is currently in Abidjan, the Ivorian capital. According to officials of Car Power Ship, the power ship is expected to finally dock in Ghana on Friday, November 27.
The power plant would be towed into Ghana by tugboats. It is expected to add 225 megawatts of electricity to Ghana's current stock.
The first 225 megawatts capacity power ship, which set sail from Turkey about 3 weeks ago, made a brief stopover in Abidjan and is expected to arrive in Ghana by Friday, November 27, 2015. This comes after the Black Marlin, a speed deck cargo ship transporting the power ship, arrived in Abidjan on Sunday. The CEO of Gridco, the company responsible for connecting the ship to the national grid, Mr. William Amuna, says they are ready to receive the ship.
We also have works that are ongoing. We have constructed a transmission line. It's about 95% through now. When the ship arrives, we would have to hook up from the gantry at the top there, the structure you see up there. We'd have to hook that to the first tower that is in the sea. We are expecting that within 1 week, we would have finished all the works that would link up to the power system and our control center. Now, if that is done, we would only wait for the ship itself. If the fuel supply and everything is okay and they are ready to generate, we would dispatch. So we are very ready for that.
The power ship forms part of government's immediate interventions to address the shortfalls in power supply. The Minister of Power, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, says arrangements have been made by the GNPC to provide heavy fuel oil to power the power ship.
The issue of how to power this vessel has come up. Are we sure of a constant fuel supply so that even when it arrives, we will not still experience the same problem we're experiencing back home?
Well, this will initially run on heavy fuel oil, and GNPC has the responsibility of supplying the heavy fuel oil. Of course, when gas becomes available, then it will convert to gas. But in the interim, arrangements have been made by GNPC to supply heavy fuel oil to power the barge.
Meanwhile, the second ship is expected to be delivered by the end of the first quarter of 2016. Abdulhai Mumin, GBC24.
An initiative to reduce emissions from deforestation and forest degradation in Ghana has taken off in Accra. Known as the National Red Plus Forum, the discussions are focusing on conserving our forests for better lives and a better climate. The participants are drumming home the need to secure the future of Ghana's forests significantly and also set up a results-based planning structure to deal with climate change.
This is the maiden meeting of the National Red Plus Forum. In his address, former President John Agyekum Kufuor said the Red Plus Forum should send out the right signals to all to help conserve our forests from environmental degradation. He acknowledged that rapid advances in technology and industrialization have increased emission of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere with disastrous consequences.
The emergence of Red Plus, which means reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, and the Plus, including biodiversity conservation, sustainable forest management, and enhancement of forest carbon stocks in Ghana, presents an opportunity for the country to further complement ongoing efforts.
The Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Samuel Afaridate, said many people benefit directly or indirectly from the forest, for which reason the forest must be preserved.
Our forests provide us with medicinal plants, good soils and rainfall to enhance farming activities, clean air, biodiversity protection, protection of the various water bodies, among others. Mr. Chairman, we also obtain substantial economic benefits from our forests. These include an average export value of timber of about $250 million per annum.
Lands and Forestry Minister Ni Osa Mills spoke about human activities which are responsible for climate change.
In order to reverse this trend, a number of interventions are being pursued, including the implementation of the REDD+ program by the Forestry Commission, implementation of a national forest plantation development program through public and private initiatives.
About 90 countries will meet in Paris at the end of the UN Framework on Climate Change conference called COP21, at which Ghana will be represented. Ahead of REDD+ Forum, a mini photo fair exhibition was mounted by key stakeholders and government agencies on the negative effects of climate change on the ecology.
USAID Ghana, in partnership with the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service, is holding the first ever National Reading Festival for children across the 10 regions of the country. As part of its literacy program, it seeks to promote reading among school children in the Ghanaian language and in English.
The Reading Festival brought together children from different schools in the Greater Accra region. This reading festival supports the USAID's goal of increasing access to reading materials in public schools so that the about 2.8 million public school children can be encouraged to make use of them. This will enable Ghanaian children to improve their reading skills in both the local languages and in English. Thousands of books were displayed at the festival, and a number of reading-related activities such as spelling bees, teaching seminars and drumming and dancing were also held. The Regional Director of Education, Madam Felicia Boachi Yadom, said reading is the gateway to academic excellence, and so students should read at all times.
The Learning Project has programmed to train and retrain you, to give you pedagogical excellence. If you commit yourself to the ideals of the project, you will be better qualified to teach children to become proficient readers in both L1 and L2.
The Mission Director of USAID, Mr. Andrew Karras, also urged the students to keep up the habits of good reading in order to contribute to Ghana's future.
What we hope to achieve is increased literacy, better test results, better educated students, more competitive students for the future.
The USAID has procured over 4 million books, of which 13,823 will be distributed to kindergartens and 14,405 to primary schools in all the 216 districts in Ghana. The reading materials consist of 41 titles in Ghanaian languages and 23 titles in English. 4 regions have so far benefited from the program.
Food insecurity has over the years been an issue of public concern. Ignorance of modern food preservation methods by some farmers and traders is pointed at as one of the causes of food insecurity in Ghana, which affects export. As part of efforts to improve the situation, the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission has set up a facility in Agunaswedru in the central region to help in food processing and preservation.
Ghanaian farmers and traders go through thick and thin to find a lasting solution to their food preservation challenges. This has compelled most farmers and traders to adopt various unapproved and unhealthy approaches to preserve their farm produce before it gets to the consumer. Due to the high cost that accompanies modern food preservation methods, majority of the foodstuff are left to rot on the shelves. The situation has also caused some Ghanaian farm produce to be rejected on the international market. Some yam traders at Agunaswedru disclosed that it is difficult to make profit or break even when their stock goes bad.
Our customers always say our yams are rotten, and so they buy them cheaply. Our yams always get rotten when we don't sell them quickly. We therefore welcome any solution to that.
Some maize sellers could not hold back their worries.
The weevils destroy our maize, and this does not make us get good corn dough.
This development led to the partnership between the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission (GAEC) and the Agona West Municipal Assembly to establish a gamma irradiation center within the municipality in order to reduce poverty and improve food security. The facility will help preserve various food crops such as beans, maize and millet and tubers, including yam, cassava, cocoyam, and other root crops such as ginger, granules, among others. The municipal chief executive of Agona West, Mr. Samuel Opong, said the facility is a timely intervention to help address the food preservation challenge.
We have a technology that can help our people to store their produce for a longer time, so that in the periods of glut, they have a hope that they can still keep their things until the prices are okay, so that at least they can make profits.
The Director General of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, Professor Benjamin Nyako, explains how beneficial the facility will be to the farmers and traders.
To make sure that throughout the whole year we have food available, not that during the harvest season we have enough food and then we cannot store it, and at a certain time all of them go bad and food prices goes up, and then it will give the farmers and then the sellers more income than before, and reducing poverty.
The facility will be run under the management and expertise of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission.
The communities of Dungu and Sugashi in the northern region, which had severe water problems, now have good drinking water. Africa Water Foundation, which aims at extending potable water to rural people in collaboration with Pagba Saha Foundation, have presented a water filtering machine to them for domestic processing. And the machine has a lifespan of 10 years.
The dam was recently dredged by the Sanerigu District Assembly. The DC for Sanerigu, Mohamed Sorogudo, said they are liaising with the EPA to assist them with seedlings to plant around the river banks for shade.
We will very soon come back with seedlings so that community members will assist in getting the seedling planted around the river banks. Said that we'll be able to provide shade, and that even during the hot season, the water will still be maintained. The water body will still be as it is.
The director of African Water Foundation, Mr. Eugene Muela, appealed to the government to help import more pour water filtering machines into the country so that they can be supplied to remote areas without water.
I bring a possibility for the people living in remote areas to have access to drinkable water to a very small price, and in the same time we are able to establish a first aid network for the same villages. I try to get the attention of the Kenyan government to do the same system together with me, spreading out the country.
The CEO of Pagbasa Foundation, Hadia Saratu Hassan, appealed to the people in the community to keep the river banks clean to promote healthy living. The head of the community, Mbawulana, thanked the director of Africa Water Foundation and the CEO of Pagbasa Foundation. He promised that they will take good care of the water filtering machine. Some women in the community shared their joy with GBC24.
We are happy that today we've got good drinking water and water for cooking.
Now to the Ashanti region, where at an end-of-year meeting of the Managing Board of the Architectural and Engineering Services Limited in Kumasi, members were cautioned to reflect on their services, move with the changing times, and ensure efficiency in the industry. This is in the wake of the collapse of some buildings, which have often been fatal.
In recent times, there has been some shoddy work in the construction and building industry, with some buildings collapsing at various stages of construction. Some have blamed the situation on high cost of consultancy services, while others believe it is due to the high cost of building materials. The meeting of the Architectural and Engineering Services Limited, AESL, took place at a time that the monopoly in consultancy services that the AESL had in the building and construction industry is gradually fading. This is as a result of the emergence of both local and international consultancy services on the local market. Issues discussed at the meeting therefore centered on how buildings can be made safe for the protection of the general public, the corporate financial performance for 2015, and highlights of the 2015 budget and its effects on AESL operations. The managing director of the AESL, Mr. Louis Sanchimo Atongo, said AESL is designing low-cost houses that the poor can afford to build, especially in the rural areas. This will help in national development. The Chief Director of the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, Mr. Kofi Esubonting, advised members of the AESL to be dynamic and proactive in their profession to make them fit into the changing building and construction industry. A High Court judge in Kumasi, Mr. Justice Akwa, told the members to change their attitude to work. He urged them to coordinate with other professionals to ensure national development.
A lecture has been organized in memory of a former president of the Methodist Church of Ghana, Most Reverend Professor Emeritus Kwesi Abutia Dixon. The lecture paid tribute to the man who was acknowledged for his disposition towards peace and reconciliation, as well as transparency and integrity. He is credited with the abolition of Wikipin in Methodist Church and the establishment of the Danwell Insurance Company, and was a co-producer of the Infante English Dictionary.
Most Reverend Professor Emeritus Kwesi Abutia Dixon was born on the 7th of July 1929 at Salt Pond in the central region of Ghana. He was educated at the Mfansipim School at Cape Coast. He completed his basic ministerial training at the Training Theological Seminary, then Trinity College in Kumasi. In 1951, he then attended the University of Ghana, then the University College of the Gold Coast. Next, he went to the United Kingdom for his postgraduate education at Mansfield College, Oxford, at Oxford University. He was ordained into the ministry of the Methodist Church of Ghana at the British Methodist Conference of 1957. He served in various capacities at the University of Ghana for over 3 decades, including as head of the Department for the Study of Religions, Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Master of Commonwealth Hall, the first Dean of Students, and the Director of the Institute of African Studies. In 1989, he was elected as President of the Methodist Church Ghana. He served for 2 consecutive 4-year terms, which ended in 1997. He also served as the Chairman of the Christian Council of Ghana, an All-Africa Conference of Churches, delivering the memorial lecture on the legacy of Most Reverend Professor Emeritus Kwesi Abutia Dixon. The Very Reverend Professor John D. Ekem, Director of Special Programs at the Trinity Theological Seminary, Legon, described the late Emeritus as an academic and shaper of theology, a church leader, humanist and statesman, and as humble and unassuming family man.
It can be affirmed without any iota of doubt that the underlying quality shining through all these impressive accomplishments was Professor Dixon's humility, which was deeply rooted in his love for his creator and our polarized world, particularly the vulnerable.
The second lady, Mrs. Matilda Misaafa, shared some fond memories of Most Reverend Professor Emeritus Kwesi Abutia Dixon.
Professor Dixon was a very humble man who believed in being who you are, and more especially was all for the mother tongue. So even though he spoke English like an Englishman, he spoke Fanti everywhere.
The Most Reverend Professor Dixon died on the 26th of October 2005 at the age of 76.
People's National Convention has postponed its upcoming Congress scheduled for this weekend. The party was expected to elect new national officers and a presidential candidate for the party at the Congress scheduled for the 27th till the 29th of this month, but had to be postponed. Dr. Edward Mahama, who was the party's presidential candidate from 1996 to 2008, will compete with Hassan Ayariga and former party chairman Michael Mensah-Bonsu to be the PNC's presidential candidate in the 2016 general elections. This is News Hour on GBC24 and GTV. We'll be back with some more stories.
My name is Maurice Ogbeti and I have the latest from the world of business. This package is brought to you by EcoBank, Airtel and Hisense. The Ministry of Power has yet again stated a resolve to end the current load shedding by close of year. The Chief Director of the Power Ministry is hopeful that with the coming on board of the Ameri Power Plant and the Car Power Badge, the situation will improve considerably. He added that the situation has worsened in the past few days due to the shutdown of the Ghana Gas Plant. Speaking at the IFH 2016 post-budget analysis in Accra, the Power Ministry's Chief Director touched on critical issues in the energy sector. Mr. Aswala said everything was being done to resolve the energy crisis by close of year.
Whilst others are counting a failure on the part of government, others are counting days for the minister to resign. On the flip side of it, we are counting towards a resolution of the problem. And we think we can do it.
He revealed that the Car Power Badge, which will be key in resolving the energy crisis, will berth at the shores of Ghana shortly.
Our expectation that the car power ship will arrive anytime this week. If it does not arrive by his projection, coming from the Power Ministry with our experience, let me say that it will come next week to be on the safe side. If it comes earlier, that is good. And so the car power ship, we hopefully will arrive in Ghana on Friday.
On what has become a friction between the Energy Ministry and Ghana Gas, he noted that Ghana Gas made a mountain out of molehill in the matter. GCNet has presented a check of 12 million Ghana cedis, being an interim dividend for the 2014 financial year to the government of Ghana. The dividend brings GCNet's total dividend payment to the government in the past 10 years to 79 million Ghana cedis.
GCNet was introduced 10 years ago to ensure the smooth processing of customs documentation and to get information accurate. The intervention cuts down on the long, winding process of clearing goods at the port. Prior to the introduction of the verification and classification system by customs at the port, GCNet was Ghana's single window platform. This allowed all stakeholders involved in international trade to lodge documents with a single entry point to fulfill all trade-related regulatory requirements. It was established to remove constraints to legitimate trade and increase revenue accruing from taxes on trade-related activities. The new system was adopted following persistent complaints by stakeholders about slow and cumbersome freight clearance processes. GCNet over the years has paid dividend to the government, which owns equity in the company through the Ghana Revenue Authority. Payment of 12 million Ghana cedis dividend this year is an improvement over the 4 million the company paid last year. Director of GCNet, Mr. Norte Omabo, said despite the challenges the company faced in 2014, they were able to make strides, hence the dividend payment.
Initially, the focus of our activities was with the Ghana Customs Management System, and over the years this has expanded to the extent that we now provide a platform under the modernization initiatives of the Ghana Revenue Authority to collect domestic taxes. And so in addition to the customs management system that we have been operating on behalf of Ghana Revenue Authority, we're also involved with the domestic tax revenue system.
A Deputy Minister for Finance, Mrs. Mona Korte, said the government will, to an extent, depend on state institutions to raise revenue to carry out developmental projects.
Even as budget deficits
percentage has been brought down to 5.3 from 5.8 that we expected it to be, it means that we have to work even harder. The adjustment has to be even tighter, and therefore we are counting on you and your collaboration under the new single window to ensure that from customs we are able to classify properly, value properly, and get the kind of revenue that we expect, of course, through customs itself.
The directors of GCNet say they have undertaken continuous system checks and upgrades to enable the institution to operate in a most efficient manner. For the records, GCNet was the first to deploy an electronic tracking system for Ghana Customs, and this is unprecedented in Africa.
We'll talk some banking because the final of 6 draws of the Ghana Commercial Bank Big Money promo has been held in Accra. 6 customers won various prizes ranging from Samsung tablets, mobile phones and generators. A customer of the Tantra Hill branch of GCB Bank in Accra, Owusua Mayfair, won 300,000 Ghana cedis in the grand draw of the Big Money promo.
The Big Money promo is the first since Ghana Commercial Bank GCB rebranded. The promotion was aimed at rewarding customers of the bank for their loyalty. Those who participated in the promotion had an account with the bank. Also, prospective customers who took part in the draw opened a new account with the bank with 500 Ghana cedis base money. Also, customers of GCB had to maintain an average of 500 Ghana cedis in their accounts for a period of 6 months to be eligible for the promotion. There were a total of 6 draws that were run by the National Lottery Authority NLA. The head of business promotion at the National Lotteries Authority NLA, Mr. Eko Inkun, who supervised the 6 draws, said GCB satisfied the NLA with all the requirements of the promotion and it was good working with them. The head of consumer banking of GCB, Mrs. Doris Wonu, spoke about the package the bank has for its customers this Christmas.
We have the GCB TruePay, which is a mobile point of sale device which you use your card. Today we want to project cashless and cash-light society. So you go to a shop, the market, everybody, anything you want to buy, instead of carrying cash, which is very bulky, you just use your card, your ATM card.
The bank presented checks, generators and mobile phones to winners in the 5th draw. Ataya Christopher and May Queen Dogby received 3,000 and 2,000 Ghana cedis respectively. One of the bank's customers, May Queen Dogby, said she is grateful to GCB.
I was just shouting, wow, is it true that I've won 2,000? He said yes. And I said, oh, okay. I thought the promotion was fake. But since you've called me and you confirmed it, then I'm very grateful.
The draws included 4 monthly draws and 2 grand draws. The ultimate winner was Owusua Mayfair of the Tantra Hill branch in Accra. She won the grand prize of 300,000 Ghana cedis. The Big Money promo was launched on 30th April this year, and the final draw was held on the 24th November 2015.
And so for those of you who follow events on the interbank market, you realize that the Ghana cedi has maintained some stability over the past few months. Now, let's go over to the market and get the latest details. We also update you on the latest price of gold, cocoa and oil on the international commodities market. And that was Business, brought to you by EcoBank, Airtel, and Hisense. News Hour continues.
Time now for some health news brought to you by FBAC. FBAC blows your pain away. UNAIDS has developed a new global strategy to end the AIDS epidemic by the year 2030. The strategy, dubbed the 90-90-90 fast-track target, is to ensure that 90% of persons living with HIV know their status, 90% receive sustained antiretroviral therapy, and 90% have viral suppression by the year 2020.
Over the years, several strategies have been initiated and targets set to deal with HIV and AIDS pandemic. They yielded varied results. In its quest to eliminate the scourge, UNAIDS is rolling out a new intervention called the 90-90-90 fast-track target. Altogether, the plan seeks to ensure that by 2020, Ghana attains 90% in terms of persons living with HIV knowing their status. From this point, it is expected that 90% of those diagnosed as having been infected with HIV would have access to antiretroviral therapy on a sustained basis. Project evaluation would expect a 90% reduction in the viral load in persons receiving the therapy. 15 years from now, that is by 2030, UNAIDS aims at 95% HIV treatment and zero discrimination. According to UNAIDS, the prevalence rate in Ghana stands at 1.5%, with HIV testing very low, condom use also on the decline, and antiretroviral therapy coverage still low.
5 years are the most critical time. And if we achieve this number of people on treatment for the next 5 years, then definitely there will be a guarantee that we'll be ending the epidemic by 2030. And the last 90 is, out of those who are on treatment, at least 90% of them have sufficient viral control. And this low viral count is one guarantee that infections will not take place. So that way we cut sources of new infection.
The Deputy Minister for Tourism and Creative Arts, Jifa Gomashi, said the ministry will continue to collaborate with UNAIDS to promote lifestyles that will prevent new HIV infections.
About promoting safe sex. Who better to do this work than those of us in the creative sector? Because through our songs, through plays, through skits, through films, the government of Ghana understands the various issues and recognizes that we cannot do it alone as politicians, and you cannot do it alone as health service providers. And so this marriage that we have, I think that is the best way we should go, and we should just find more ways in strengthening that relationship.
Other development partners attending the Ghana-UN joint team on HIV and AIDS have pledged to support Ghana in fighting the deadly disease.
National Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has placed Ghana second in the 2014 cholera ranking in West Africa. According to the report, Ghana recorded a total of 28,944 cholera cases with 247 deaths. Ghana followed Nigeria, which took the lead with 35,946 cases and 755 deaths. Guinea-Conakry was at the bottom of the ranking with 2 cases and no death. UNICEF said Ghana's open defecation rate has reduced from 22% in 1990 to 19% in 2015. However, UNICEF said this is worrying since the Millennium Development Goal target is 11%. That was the health segment brought to you by FBAC. FBAC blows your pain away.
In other news, Pope Francis is in Kenya for a 3-nation African tour, his first to the continent as pontiff. President Uhuru Kenyatta and ululating crowds welcomed him at the airport in the capital, Nairobi. An atheist group says it will challenge in court a government decision to declare Thursday a holiday in honor of the pontiff. A leading Muslim cleric in Kenya welcomed the visit, saying it gave hope to the downtrodden in the slums. Pope Francis is also due to visit Uganda and Central African Republic, which has been hit by Christian-Muslim conflict. Gambia's President Yahya Jammeh has banned female genital mutilation, saying it is not required in Islam. The announcement at a rally was met with a huge applause. 3/4 of women in the mostly Muslim country have had the procedure. Female circumcision can be extremely painful, lead to tetanus, gangrene, HIV, hepatitis B and C, and effective sterilization. A plane carrying about 500 Nigerians deported from the UK landed earlier today in Nigeria's main city of Lagos. Most of the deportees say they are not happy to come back. One person was arrested by British police and was not allowed to even take his belongings before being deported. A few of them who say they don't have relatives in Lagos are stranded in the airport. Recently, Nigeria expressed concern over the UK's plan to deport 29,000 Nigerians and has insisted that due process be followed before Nigerians are removed from the UK. Nigeria says Britain must ensure that those being deported are really Nigerians, medically fit to travel and have a role to play in the country, meaning they should be able to fit into Nigerian society. And earlier in the UK, 2 anti-deportation activists glued themselves to the gate of an immigration centre near London's Heathrow Airport in an attempt to stop the chartered flight to Nigeria from leaving. They were part of a group of activists trying to stop a bus carrying deportees for a flight to Nigeria, Ghana and Sierra Leone. Some sports news next.
Good evening and updates from the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa Dusses in partnership with Tobinco Pharmaceuticals Limited, producers of Lunat. In Accra, Hearts of Folks annual general meeting is taking place at the Accra International Conference Center. Board Chairman Togbe Afede used the occasion to explain why the team has failed to sign some big players.
The only thing that worries you guys is that you haven't heard that Hearts have signed Mr. Chire, or that's the only thing missing. But with what our technical team is doing, the program that we receive from them, the equipment that we have invested in, I'm saying that preparation towards the next season is better than any that we've ever had. Only thing you haven't heard is that we've signed Mr. S or Mr. Y. And that is precisely because we wanted to do things properly. People have criticized Hearts is doing just by inclusion. We've done Hearts did just by inclusion in some times past, Duncan's time, Herbert's time, Sikakono's time. They've done it. It's not something we believe in. We believe in scouting for players throughout the season. Because you can't observe a player one match, one day and conclude. So we've not been happy about that. So we are trying to put in place that system where recruitment is by scouting that happens throughout the year. Having said that, we just need to do what we are doing today. And the people that Kenny has been looking at include some of the old names that you guys would want to see Hearts of Oak sign. But we don't want to rush to sign them.
Still on Accra Hearts of Oak, a supporters wing of the club, the Project Phobia, say it is time a new board of directors is commissioned to revive the club. They say affairs of the club are not properly handled and do not inspire confidence ahead of the start of the new Premier League season.
Accra Hearts of Oak have been grappling with the state of affairs of the team. At a forum in Accra, a supporters wing of the club, Project Phobia, deliberated on matters arising in the club and the way forward. They touched on the Pobiman pitch, where the new coach and players have refused to train, delays in payment of player salaries, inactivity on the player transfer market, among others. The spokesperson for Project Phobia, Maxo Asabre, says the club needs new board members to steer affairs.
The Council of Patrons must assert itself and refuse to be neglected into oblivion by the present board. We refer to the Professor Kofi Kumando Committee report, which stated that the club's constitution and the company's code will operate side by side. which means the council retains its important mediation role in the club.
Commencement of the new season is set for December 20.
That's all for sports.
Now, some arts news. Today, we'll do some domestic tourism with you by taking you to the Umbrella Rock and the ancient cave, all in Boti in the Manyakrobo district of the Eastern region.
Eastern region is home to many tourist attractions and beautiful natural scenery. From mountains and valleys, the region offers picturesque landscapes to any visitor. Another natural resource are sedimentary rocks. Two of such rocks are the Umbrella Rock and the Ancient Cave. A 45-minute walk from the Boti Falls, depending on the pace, takes one to the Umbrella Rock. On the pathway to this rock are different types of plants, some of which have medicinal properties. There are also many different shapes of rocks, all of which are sedimentary. To have a better view of the scenery, one must climb that rock. This has been named the Umbrella Rock because of its look. The positioning of both rocks creates a form of shield or cover like an umbrella. One thing that caught my attention here are the inscriptions on the rocks. Visitors have etched their names on the rocks, perhaps to register their presence here. From the Umbrella Rock to Boti Falls, another interesting sight is the ancient cave of our forefathers. Before one gets here, one must traverse this rough and steep path. This is where our forefathers lived. This cave is also a huge sedimentary rock with countless natural small openings. It is believed that they kept their precious items in them. Accessibility may deter people from recommending this haven to others. Though the main road leading to these sites are relatively good, upon arrival, a journey free of interference is not guaranteed. For instance, the paths are not properly developed and one must do battle with the weeds and bushes. But the countless interesting things to look out for are a reward.
With technical support from the Ghana Meteorological Agency.
A very warm welcome to the Weather Center. I am Eunice Kweku Tony. For the past 24 hours, we experienced slightly dry and hazy conditions over northern Ghana, and dust particles were raised in the atmosphere. The forest and the coastal line experienced cases of scattered showering activities. And now the weather system from now till tomorrow morning. We are likely to experience a chance of isolated thunderstorms affecting areas over the forest and the coastal portions of the country. This feature is likely to affect areas over the Tribekwai, Kumasi, Koforidia, down to Alavanyo, Volo, and all the surrounding areas. Accra, Pokuase, towards Axim, Hafasini, and the surrounding areas are also likely to be affected. Coming over to the northern and the transition portions of the country, we're going to experience some dry conditions. For temperatures, we are forecasting a range between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius, affecting most parts of the country. In the afternoon, partly cloudy conditions with sunshine intervals would affect most parts of Ghana. And if you have observed the temperatures for the past 1 week, we've been experiencing high temperatures across most parts of the country, with northern Ghana experiencing the highest. This time around, we're going to experience a range between 32 and 40 degrees Celsius, with northern Ghana experiencing the highest. This is to say that the warm days are very close to us. Therefore, let's brace ourselves and take in more liquids. The 48-hour forecast is coming up shortly. Do stay tuned to GTV. That's the weather.
Thank you for keeping company with us.
Have a good night.